So the director of One Punch Man Season 3 has just deleted his Twitter account. Shinpei Nagai has gotten harassed to the point by people who are claiming to be his fans, but have instead tore apart everything that he has created under impossible circumstances. Here is what he said before leaving Twitter. There are a few people among my followers who are pretending to be allies but are actually engaging in rage baiting. Their actions taking my statements out of context, trying to elicit comments that violate NDAs, or turning them into profit, as he deems all of these actions to be unacceptable. Shinpei Nagai via his X account was trying to communicate with his followers, explaining the challenges with the anime production for Season 3 of One Punch Man. He was transparent in ways that other anime directors have never really been. His honesty had resulted in a campaign of insults and mockery, and several content creators farming views over the state of One Punch Man Season 3. We'll be reacting to some of these videos, and some of these YouTubers have criticized Season 3 of One Punch Man, describing it to be pee, garbage, and all sorts of other insulting words of harassment, which they are disguising as constructive criticism. I'll be reacting to several videos from creators like Penguin Zero, Nicholas Light TV, and even Chibi Reviews. Now, while I don't disagree with them entirely, it's the way that they have framed their videos. There are genuine issues with One Punch Man Season 3, but I have to start this video off by saying that there's a huge difference between constructive criticism and whatever has happened here. The director of One Punch Man Season 3 was literally a victim of harassment disguised as a campaign of constructive criticism. So first and foremost, let's establish what exactly had happened with One Punch Man Season 3.
As Season 3 of the One Punch Man anime is launched, fans of the franchise have noticed something a little bit off about it. That is, it seems to have taken a dip in animation quality. Notably, it's become a meme described as One Frame Man, as there are so many story beats animated with such minimal movement that one might as well read the manga, as the imagery within it is striking and has more effort applied.
One Punch Man Season 3 had premiered on the 12th of October 2025. They started with a recap episode which aired on the 5th of October. This was 6 years after the ending of Season 2, which concluded in 2019. Immediately after the release of Season 3, fans had noticed that the animation was rough. Heck, they even noticed it during the teaser trailers that were released a few months before Episode 1. The anime had limited movement, extensive still shots, and shortcuts to the production that were even visible to casual fans.
This is especially evident upon comparison to Season 1, which debuted in 2015 and features some of the best animation ever seen.
Now, this is really important context, because Season 1 of One Punch Man had set an impossibly high bar of expectation for viewers. Season 1 of One Punch Man was easily one of the best animated TV anime ever. Studio Madhouse had brought in legendary animators for Season 1. Everything to do with that first season was a perfectly timed storm of talent, timing, and passion.
Particular scene doing the rounds from Episode 2, in which Garou slides down a hill, and it genuinely just looks like the animators clicked and dragged the character to make him look like he was moving. Even Charlie has weighed in on it.
Episode 2 of One Punch Man Season 3 had featured that scene of Garou sliding down a hill. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this, it literally is what it is on screen. It's a PNG being dragged down the screen. It's clearly a compositing issue which should have been caught during the quality control stage, but it wasn't because of the insane scheduling and time limits of this anime production. The scene got clipped instantly and it became a meme overnight. People have been mocking One Punch Man Season 3 on literally every single platform. Well, yes, it does deserve constructive criticism, but what we're seeing online is a barrage of vulgar insults and harassment. But there's a huge difference between saying that this shot in particular is the anime production clearly using a shortcut versus calling the anime staff incompetent at their jobs.
It's reminiscent of other properties that wowed with their first season and then went on to suffer drastic dips in quality, like Blue Lock with its noticeable changes in Season 2, or parts of Invincible when it appears the animators simply dragged a PNG file around and called it animation.
Notice a pattern that is happening here. Blue Lock Season 2 as well as Invincible and other shows are suffering from similar production issues. So this isn't a problem that's unique to One Punch Man. This is an increasingly common problem, especially with works from Japan, because their system of producing anime is broken from its fundamental core.
Animation in Japan is infamous for its long hours and horrific deadlines. It's a shame when less popular or interesting properties get loving and passionate animation, and One Punch Man seems to be thrown to the wayside.
Now, this is the key acknowledgement that a lot of these videos by content creators have completely forgotten to mention, that producing anime in Japan is infamous for its long hours and insanely horrific deadlines. This isn't an excuse for the anime staff, it's the reality of what they are working in. Here's what nobody wants to really talk about. Just because One Punch Man Season 2 ended in 2019, it doesn't mean that One Punch Man Season 3 has had 6 years of production time. Think about the entire timeline of the work. One Punch Man Season 3 was announced in August of 2022, and this was just with a key visual. We had no news of studio staff or anything for over a year. We didn't even get proper staff announcements until September of 2024, and our first proper trailer was released in early of 2025. This isn't normal for anime works. This isn't how properly scheduled anime productions work. These were the first signs that the anime staff were under insanely tight deadlines, based upon industry standards, and when information had started to appear online, we can logically deduce that One Punch Man Season 3 has had less than 10 months of pre-production time. They've had 10 months to literally adapt one of the most visually complex manga arcs, with high expectations for this anime season from fans who have been looking forward to it for years. For comparison's sake, TV anime with this level of action and complexity usually have 18 to 24 months of pre-production time. The Demon Slayer movies in comparison have had years of runway, whereas Season 3 of One Punch Man has had a fraction of that time. The lack of marketing materials for Season 3 wasn't mysterious or a strategic choice, it was the first red flag. When you're not seeing trailers and you're not seeing staff interviews, you're getting basic visuals weeks before the premiere of episode 1, it tells you that the production is behind schedule from day one. I mean, look at some of these criticisms online. People admitting that Season 2 was already a step down from Season 1, but what on earth is going on with Season 3? Despite being announced in 2022, the production and build up to it has been underwhelming and confusing with little to nothing to see. This is because of behind the scenes issues with the production of Season 3.
In short, Season 3 of One Punch Man has provoked frustration from fans of the franchise, as it has taken a large dip in quality, enough so to be described as one frame man, given the lack of movement present in each scene compared to the incredible first season.
A level of frustration was understandable, but what had happened next wasn't just fans expressing disappointment, but it involves content creators with large followings creating videos which have led to a campaign of harassment forcing the anime director of Season 3 off of X. Season 3's issues stem from the Anime Production Committee system, which I'll explain in detail later in the video. It's designed to spread the financial risk across multiple companies, TV stations, publishers, toy manufacturers, music labels, as all of these different parties invest in the production of anime. Well, it sounds good in theory, but it creates a structure where the actual animation studio receives 1/4 to 1/2 of the budget that they actually need, while being held to impossible deadlines which have been set by individuals who will never face consequences for those decisions. JC Staff, the anime studio behind One Punch Man Season 3, did not choose this timeline for the release of Season 3. The anime director Shinpei Nagai didn't choose these constraints to work under. They were handed a project that was set up to fail from the very beginning. They had an insufficient budget, impossible schedule, and a weight of expectation from fans who were expecting a level of animation quality from Season 1 which was just impossible to fulfill under the insane deadlines by the Animation Production Committee. Some of these YouTubers have been criticizing JC anime staff, calling it One Piss Man Season 3, referring to it as garbage and corporate slop. They've directed all of their hate towards people who don't deserve it, when in actuality it's the big companies who are behind the production committees which have put JC staff in an impossible situation. Firstly, I want to react to the video by Penguin Zero, which is titled "I hope this video ages horribly." Charlie's video got over 3 million views within 48 hours. This is more visibility than most anime episodes will get. While he starts the video with good intentions, stating that he hopes he's wrong, the actual content does massive damage to the anime staff.
You'll see my eyes are a bit red from the tears that I shed watching it and rubbing them away. Not because I witnessed peak, but because I witnessed pee. Actual waste.
It's insane that he begins this video with this opening statement to over 3 million people. He's justifying humiliating the hard work of animators who are being worked to the bone. This isn't critique, bro. This is literally humiliation.
Season 2 rolled around and it was a bit of a wet fart. That one was very disappointing to me, and I know a lot of people don't like my take on it, but I mean, it's how I feel about it. I think it is just such a huge step down. Not only in the obvious decline in animation quality, it's a different studio. It's JC staff that took it over, which doesn't typically do do something like One Punch Man, and they did not a great job.
This is where the casual studio blame begins, with JC staff being named and their work being called a wet fart. Never mind the fact that JC staff have produced anime in the past when they've been given proper time and allocated resources. That JC staff is actually producing several anime at the same time, because this is just how anime production committees schedule projects. Maybe Charlie doesn't understand how anime are created and the production committees that are behind them, so the only person he has to point the finger to is the anime staff, so he goes straight towards JC staff.
Maybe this time, given more time to cook, they could deliver something better, and now that we're 2 episodes in, they're delivering something even worse. It is actually even worse. Season 2 got dubbed by the fans One Frame Man because there's so little animation. A lot of the times you're watching still images, basically just manga panels and a PowerPoint. Season 3 is even worse so far. I shit you not, in the latest episode, episode 2, there is 2 separate scenes where it is a still image with the slowest panning camera imaginable. I actually thought my TV froze. And it goes on for like 20 seconds. Like, it lingers for 20 seconds on just a still frame and some like narrator dialogue.
When these slogans like One Frame Man get repeated within every single comment section and reply, the director as well as the animation supervisors are eventually going to see this. This catchy insults harm the in-betweeners who work 14-hour days trying to meet these deadlines. Imagine working under this insane pressure and then the people who are watching your work are criticizing you to such an extent when the criticism should be directed towards anime production committees. But those executives sitting at those meetings are never going to see these One Frame Man criticism comments.
These actual nothing burger properties you've never heard of that are just actual garbage, bottom of the barrel slop. Last winter, the Wizard Lord transmogrified me into a paperclip and whisked me away to Vampireville, where all of these vampire babes shoved me up their ass and tasked me with defeating the Demon Lord. Who even knows what that is? And then the anime rolls out and it's breathtaking. Why does that kind of garbage get that kind of passionate studio treatment, but something like One Punch Man, beloved, gets JC staff spitting in our face?
It's as if they're deliberately making a bad show because they want to hurt our feelings. JC staff is not trying to upset you personally, Charlie. Again, this is just how anime production works. Videos like this make it okay for Charlie's viewers to see the anime staff as the enemy instead of being victims who are working under constraints.
Now, I want to mention, I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I just don't think this is the kind of studio that can do One Punch Man justice. They already proved they couldn't with season 2, yet they're hopping back on the saddle again with season 3 just to prove people even more right that they just can't do it.
He's framing JC staff as being incapable of producing good anime. Instead, he should be saying they weren't given enough time, or that the schedule didn't allow them to create anything better than what is being released. They don't lack talent, it's that they literally cannot do it. Give JC staff the timeline and the budget that is given to Ufotable, who works on Demon Slayer, and I'm guaranteeing you that One Punch Man Season 3 would have looked totally different.
Even outside of the obvious lack of animation, if you watch Season 3 of One Punch Man, you've probably noticed that there's pretty much no movement happening in this show. To call it an animation is being really loosey-goosey with the term.
Are there too many still shots in One Punch Man Season 3? Yes. Is the motion limited? Absolutely. But when he says it's not animation, he's directly insulting the anime staff. There's a huge difference between insufficient movements or limited animation and calling it not animation at all.
So to have him go down the hill, they took Garo, that still image of Garo, and just moved it down. Literally panned him down with no animation at all. It is so janky. It is so gross.
It's a 20-second scene hold with a PNG being slided down. He's saying that they didn't bother, stating that it's just laziness, when I'm confident that this was an accidental oversight. And it's things like this that usually do get patched up and fixed for a Blu-ray release, but they just don't have the time to correct it for TV airing. These anime have TV slots where the anime needs to be ready for that deadline when that episode is going to air. In whatever state the anime is in, it has to go out. So there's been a huge overreaction over this still shot of Garo.
Bunch of back and forth on who was going to get season 3, and it ultimately ended up in the hands of JC staff, but it took like a prolonged period of time, so they didn't have a lot of time to get in the laboratory and work on something of high quality here, so this is what they shat out. I don't really think that's an excuse, to be honest. Like,
I mean, honestly, Charlie's takes here are so bad. He's dehumanizing the work of the animators, not even trying to understand the situation that they are in, and it's videos like this that rally a mob to the animators' accounts on Twitter where they are being constantly harassed and bullied. Charlie knows this. He knows how his audience responds and how they behave, especially when he uses the language that he does within his videos, which is humiliating, insulting, and derogatory.
IP is so popular, people will watch it no matter what, so what's the point in delivering something special? Like, I think that's equally possible as well. Like, maybe they're more to blame than JC staff. Like, maybe they just weren't given given enough time or enough resources to make something good. I'm not really sure, but it is just tragic.
Credit to where it's due, Charlie does come out with a good take in this video. Bandai Namco and the other members of the production committee are to blame for the scheduling decisions with anime like season 3 of One Punch Man. The real target that people need to go after are these big companies which never get any of the heat. But again, this good comment is buried under a video where he calls the anime pee, garbage, slop, saying that the anime studio is spitting in our face. Literally, the damage is already done by the time that you get to the end of the video, where Charlie is actually commenting on the issues that the anime staff are dealing with, like limited time and budget. That one moment at the end of the video isn't going to undo all of the terrible framing that he has done in the earlier portions of the video. Then there's Nicholas Light TV, who thinks of himself as some aggressive truth teller within the anime community. In his reaction to Charlie's video, he takes Charlie's points and amplifies them with even more hostility.
See, my eyes are a bit red from the tears that I shed watching it and rubbing them away.
Yep, I have a few holes in my walls, actually. My girl got a bunch of bruises on her, all because of One Punch Man.
But because I witnessed pee. Actual waste.
One Piss Man.
One Punch Man.
This is literally the level that we're functioning at here with this guy's content. He sets this aggressive tone at the beginning of the video, which makes it feel like the anime staff are warranted for the hostility that they've received. The goal that we should have is for better working conditions for animators, not by being an absolute clown, coming out with comments like One Piss Man, trying to be desperately funny.
That's not even a problem. The art's not the problem. It's the lack of animation. There's no animation. And if there is, it's for like 30 seconds, maybe once or twice throughout the episodes.
I mean, people who haven't watched the show, when they watch reactions like this, they'll assume that the anime staff have literally done nothing on the series. In reality, there is animation. It's just limited, stiff, and it isn't up to the standard that most would expect. Comments like this once again ignore the circumstances of the animators. It rallies the fans of individuals like Nicholas Light TV to then harass the animation staff and the individual artists instead of going at the production committee.
When something is super fucking popular, Berserk, Blue Lock, One Punch Man, even Uzumaki, the beginning after the end, these IPs, these series deserve the fucking world. It deserves the Demon Slayer animation.
There's the inevitable comparison. I said it earlier in the video, but I wish every show did look like what Demon Slayer looks like. But not every single animation studio can match that level of animation. Uvitable has a specific budget, a pipeline. The anime production of Demon Slayer is great because they've had sufficient time in pre-production. Also, Demon Slayer is now being produced into theatrical films. These are usually given extended timelines which make anime seasons look like nothing in comparison. You cannot just will ufotable levels of animation into a TV production without knowing what goes on behind the scenes.
It may be the reality of the situation that doesn't make it right. It's wrong what One Punch Man has to go through. And I'm not talking about the JC staff. JC staff are talented motherfuckers. They have more talent inside of their fucking pinky nail than I have in my entire existence, my soul, my body, right? I'm not saying it's JC Staff's fault. It's never the artist's fault, unless they're just horrible artists. And JC Staff aren't horrible artists. We see it with the art in One Punch Man and their other projects, some of them that they're currently working on. This is directed, this aggression and this fight that I try to keep alive, being one of the biggest anime channels, is towards the fucking committee.
It's great that he's positioning himself as a big anime channel that is directing their aggression towards the anime production committee. But the issue is that for the majority of the runtime of this video, he's there spending it calling the anime trash. While he isn't directly insulting the staff, he's using language which makes it okay for his fans to then hop onto social media platforms and to harass the fans directly with the language that he is using. Just because you have influence, it doesn't mean that your comments are going to reach the executives in the production committees. I guarantee you, they are not sat here reading YouTube comments or watching videos like this. The compositors and the anime director himself, he sure as hell is definitely reading these comments from fans, because they're trying to engage with them, help them to understand the situation that they are in. All of this criticism, it lands upon the anime staff, not the people that you want it directed to.
Now I'm more experienced. Now I put in 400 plus hours of anime per year. I've watched over like 50 or like 70 series at this point. You have that experience to tell you, like, my opinions have changed on a lot of things. You know, I believe that an anime as big as One Punch Man deserves that ufotable Mappa, Studio Bones even, treatment.
It took him years to realize that every anime has to have a good level of animation production. While I respect that his opinion has evolved and he's undergone some change over time, it doesn't still make it okay to come out with comments like One Piss Man, or to say that One Punch Man Season 3 has no animation. The entire video is contradictory. He's fluffing himself up saying that he's undergone all of this change when his statements just minutes before show that he hasn't undergone any change at all. He's still coming out with the same bullshit arguments which get his fans riled up to harass the animators directly on social media.
I feel like it doesn't matter who is animating this season. It could be ufotable and we would still get something like this. That could be totally wrong, but I say that because I am not blaming the artists and animators. I'm blaming those that control them, that limit their resources, that push these deadlines.
I totally agree with everything that he is saying here. That yes, any anime studio could have been given One Punch Man Season 3, but if they don't have enough time or allocated resources, then it's going to end up disappointing fans because it's not going to be at that level of quality like One Punch Man Season 1. If he understands all of this, then why on earth is he using those insulting terms and directly insulting the work of the animators? He can say it until he's blue in the face that he respects JC anime staff, that they are incredibly talented. The real enemy is the production committee. But when he's insulting the hard work, those 14-hour days of the animators who are working tirelessly, then he loses his entire argument altogether.
They haven't seen One Punch Man in like 6 years. They think that all this time they've been working on it just to get to episode 1 of season 3, and it looks like a fucking slideshow flash animation game from 2002. This is what people think, and you can't change their mind on that. You can't give them the whole fucking apologist essay from behind the scenes. Nobody cares, and that's not our fault. It's the committee's fault. He's gonna talk about the Garo slide. I started that hate train. I started that shit, bro. My tweet has over like 1.2 million views on that shit.
Look at all of the stuff that he says about the anime production committee. He realizes the truth of the situation and then admits to starting a social media hate train. Again, the executives of the production committees are not on social media, but the animation director and different animators who work on the series are. Look at how contradictory and hypocritical this entire video response from this guy is. He can try and frame this video in whatever way he wants to, but this entire hate train, which he admittedly has set off, is going towards one direction, and it's the anime staff.
They don't want to criticize. They will settle and say the newest episode, at least it was animated. It's called animated. It's the bare minimum. That's like saying a guy that showed up to his speech spoke. I'm grateful. Yeah, he was supposed to do a fucking speech. When people like Moist Critical are criticizing JC staff because they're uneducated, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, right? I'm uneducated in a lot of things.
Well, it's great that both Nicholas and Charlie appreciate that they don't understand the full nuances of the situation, but this is a part of the problem, lacking the expertise to comment on such issues while making these absolute judgments which shapes public sentiment because you guys have an insane level of followers. Nicholas has 1 million, Charlie has multiple millions, 3 million watch Charlie's video. It creates this entitlement with their viewers, believing that as consumers they can attack anyone without really understanding what on earth it is that they are criticizing.
Janky.
I saw people defending that, saying, how do you expect somebody to slide down? Bro, stop. I understand we live in a generation or a world right now where a lot of people are mental patients, right? Like we push this mental patient agenda, we endorse it, we enable it. But guys, there's a fucking limit, guys. Please, come on.
Where on earth in all of this does mental health stigma come into it? This is the exact type of language that gets translated from English into Japanese, which forces the Japanese anime staff to leave social media.
Point blank period. One Punch Man Season 3 is trash. It is trash. I don't care that it's only episode 2.
This is literally how he ends the video. One word, trash. This is a huge insult that's gonna stick with the anime production staff. This isn't going to go to the production committee executives. Nicholas positions this as some huge truth-telling video where he's reacting to Moist Critical, but instead he's handed his entire viewers, the mob, a slogan which they can now hop onto social media and harass the animators animators with. The production committee is the issue. Tag Bandai, tag everybody else involved with the production of this anime, not the animators who are employed by the production committee. If he had looked into the production committee for One Punch Man Season 3, he would have been able to give his viewers a true target that they could fire this hostility towards. Instead, he's made this video trashing on the hard work of animators, positioning himself, taking the moral high ground. It would literally take this guy 2 seconds to look at the production committee, which is made up of companies like TV Tokyo, JR East Marketing and Communications, Bandai Spirits, Bandai Namco Music Live, and so many others. These are the companies that people need to be directing their criticisms towards, not the animation studio JC staff. They are just a small cog in the anime production committee system. Nicholas created another video called "The Director is Upset at Me." This is in response to the anime director of One Punch Man Season 3 actually commenting on Nicholas Light's video, instead of reflecting on the tone of his initial video and his role in creating a hostile environment which has targeted animation directors. I mean, the proof is that the animation director has actually called this guy out and commented on the video that he made. He instead doubles down on his shit takes. I mean, look at this. One Punch Man Season 3 director responds to Nicholas Light's latest video. The director says, "I woke up this morning and was shocked. A while ago, I was told by everyone to block a few people and I did, but I don't even know who this guy is." He's referring to Nicholas Light TV. "To begin with, I've got them blocked and locked out, so I don't have the slightest thing to say to him, nor do I even acknowledge his existence. Who on earth are these people? This is troubling. Let's all stop arguing with each other. Let's talk about something fun instead." Look at these comments. "The dude has no limits. It's about time he faces the consequences of his actions," referring to Nick. And this other comment with 113 likes gets down to the bottom of the situation. This guy Nick is gaslighting and he knows what he is trying to do.
You're giving this studio, this director, a hentai director. I'm not discrediting his work, by the way.
Look, he's called him a director, a hentai director. He says it in an exaggerated tone and then adds, "I'm not discrediting this guy's work," but this is exactly what he is doing. Look at the contradictory way in which he speaks. Nicholas Light TV is a perfect example of a YouTuber using doublespeak. "I respect JC staff, the animation director," but then he says that the work is garbage, it's flash animation, it's a PowerPoint slideshow. He tries to shield himself with this talk of respect, but he uses language which squarely lands on the anime staff. He says, "I'm not discrediting him," after saying you're giving this director a hentai director. I mean, the disclaimer, which is not discrediting, and then the actual statement, which is discrediting, is a total contradiction. He says, "My anger is at the committee," then he says, "I started a hate train," and then he directs insults at the anime staff. He's claiming to aim upwards at the anime executives, but all of his comments are directed downwards at the anime staff. He says, "I'm not an expert, I'm uneducated," but then makes all of these sweeping statements, saying there's no animation, Season 3 of One Punch Man is trash. The way that Nicholas Light TV speaks is in contradictions. He does these performative disclaimers, making himself out to be this incredibly good guy, doing good for the anime community, but then he follows up everything that he says with these contradictory punchlines, trying to be the class clown. In actuality, I'm not afraid to say this guy's a dumb fuck who's making videos on shit that he knows absolutely nothing about. This clown, Nicholas Light TV, is a walking, talking self-contradiction.
How do you expect people not to be pissed? It's garbage. And I'm not saying your work is garbage. I'm saying the committee treats you like garbage.
I'm not saying your work is garbage, but he exactly is saying that the anime is garbage. He literally said at the end of that last video, it's trash, and then positions this criticism to the animation production committee when it makes no sense. He says, oh, they're treating you like garbage, but his actual comment is directed at the anime being garbage. It's the work that Shinpei Nagai has spent hours on.
I'll always stand by him and always try to spread positivity. Yeah! I'm an ass kisser, dick sucker. You are the fucking problem.
To think this guy's doubled down to such an extent that he's now attacking fans who are defending the anime staff. This shows this guy's true motives all along. He doesn't give a shit about the anime staff. He doesn't care about the conditions that the production committee have put them in. All he cares about is views, clicks, and how people perceive him. He's encouraging his entire audience of 1 million viewers to look at anybody who is showing positivity and encouragement to the animation director to be a actual problem. This is the definition of creating a toxic, hostile environment.
What we get a flash animation. Oh, you just said you respect the artist, but you're calling it flash animation. They had no other choice. It looks like this because of the limited time and resources they were given. That's where I'm angry at. That's who I'm angry at. Why are we redirecting the hate towards people like me?
It's like I said, it's because you contradict everything that you say. You don't understand the impact that your words have on the viewers that watch your content and in the way that they will react and what they do in social media, and this is exactly what has happened. People have taken that hatred and directed it towards the animators, and now you're sat here pretending like you did nothing wrong. All the while you're going after people who are defending the animation director.
Let's stop labeling it as rage bait and hate. I am so fucking sick of these YouTubers saying it's rage baiting for views. Motherfucker, you can suck all the dick you want on a daily basis. You can say everything is good, everything is amazing. You could glaze everything. My days of doing that is over. I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to be as me and as real and as honest as somebody can be as I can be.
This is exactly what the animation director Nagai had referenced when he said engaging with rage baiting. What Nicholas Light TV does isn't critiquing. It's a piece of performative art designed to generate engagement, to get people riled up and angry at the expense of real people who are doing genuinely hard work. Look at this weasel trying to pretend like he did nothing wrong. I'm currently being crucified by the One Punch Man fans on Twitter and Reddit. This is all to discredit you from what's really going on with One Punch Man Season 3. It's about to become one big pity party orchestrated by Bandai Namco to paint me as the villain and for everyone to blame me for the director deleting his account. Bro, again, you contradicted yourself in everything that you said in that video. You were derogatory towards the anime staff, you tried to punch up but all you were doing was punching down, and now you're acting like you did nothing wrong. Bro, you're a fucking weasel. Then we have Chibi Reviews commenting on the director of One Punch Man Season 3 deleting his Twitter account. This was my response to him. Genuinely, what did you think was going to happen? When you drop shit like this, you are also to blame. This is in reference to his video titled One Punch Man Season 3 is the worst anime of 2025 and it belongs in a dumpster. While Chibi Reviews videos aren't as bad as Nicholas Light TV's or most criticals, he still makes several mistakes that contributed to the anime staff being harassed. Again, he responded to me saying that in that video, he literally says it's not the staff or director's fault, it was the production committee. Also, criticism does not mean it's harassment, please know the difference. In the year of our Lord 2025, apparently the words belongs in a dumpster is criticism, apparently.
And like I said, this is probably the most movement within the episode. Like, I'm just going to click a random scene. Just look. The characters just stand there and they talk. Their mouth is moving, but they're a solid image. That's it. That's all that's going on. It's another character just straight up talking. It's just literally either still frames put on. It is not good. It's not a good look to make a 5-star meal. But the chef's cooking did not cook a meal. They threw it in the microwave and that was it. Hell, they didn't even put it for the full time for a microwave. Like if the meal required, let's say 3 minutes in the microwave, they put it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes. That's what they did with this show. And I want to make sure I say this. No hatred towards the animators, director, or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to blame them. Who I am blaming, though, is the higher-ups. I am blaming the production committee. I am blaming the people at JC staff, the big higher-ups, the people in charge, everyone involved in the main orchestration of the show to greenlight it and allow this to happen. They're the ones at fault.
There you have it. Similar to Nicholas Light TV, he spends most of the video duration shitting on the anime, calling it a work that belongs in a dumpster. These are comments that are read directly by the anime staff. But then he protects his argument by saying that, yeah, well, I need to clarify that this is directed at the anime production committee, while not even going as far as to mention the members of that production committee and who we should really be criticizing.
Happen and showcase they had no care, no regard for the series, and the fact that we have just such laziness with the animation is scary.
And there you have it. Calling it laziness is literally the core issue that I have with guys like Chibi Reviews. These criticisms destroy careers. He doesn't take into consideration when he's saying laziness is that the animators have had little to no time to work on the series. These are people pulling 70-hour work weeks only for Chibi Reviews to make some smart-ass video calling them lazy, saying their work belongs in a dumpster, and then by protecting himself saying, no, actually, I'm not going after the animators, it's the production committee. Dude, list the production committee members, do the bare minimum, show people who they should be angry at. Not once here has he mentioned that the anime staff had little time or no budget. Instead, he's called their work lazy, like they put in no effort at all. This this is what the issue is.
Time period, and the fact that we've been waiting that long for this is crazy, and the fact that season 2 is appearing to look better than season 3 is just, oh.
This is just adding to that narrative that season 3 of One Punch Man is the worst anime ever. This'll fuel that outrage that fans have, which then makes animation directors leave social media.
Instead of, making it a 5-star meal, they put it in the microwave, and instead of cooking it for 3 minutes like the instructions say in the microwave, they cooked it for a minute and a half, and it's like half done. That's kind of what this feels like. That's exactly what One Frame Man is right now for season 3.
There it is again, the memes, the smartass remarks. These are exactly the types of comments that get tagged to animator accounts on Twitter, and then guys like Chibi Review act like they've done nothing wrong. This is what Shinpei Nagai was talking about, engaging with rage baiting. This guy Chibi Reviews only cares about views and engagement. Why else is he calling season 3 of One Punch Man the worst anime of 2025? This is the type of shit that the animation director would have definitely read.
That is a PNG Agaro sliding down the hill. Oh my goodness. Let me give a very good analogy. You have a plate of shit and cake put in front of you. 90% of it's shit. 10% is delicious cake that you will absolutely love.
He's literally saying 90% of the episode is unwatchable garbage, while only 10% of it is good. This isn't a piece of shit. I mean, where are your critiques of the animation production committee here? These comments here are being directed at the anime staff. I mean, whatever you're saying here now is just critiquing the animation staff without even considering the situation that they are being put into. All of that moral high ground that you were taking, everything that you were saying about defending the animators and JC staff has been thrown out of the window when you make remarks like this.
As a One Punch Man fan, it makes me sad. It makes me very sad, because I say this as a fan, as a passionate fan of One Punch Man. I'm not hating on this episode or even critiquing it out of malice or just straight up hatred because I hate One Punch Man. I love One Punch Man.
You have to look at the contradictions, look at the doublespeak, look at what they say and then what they say after. I believe that he is genuinely a disappointed One Punch Man fan. He's harshly condemning the production committee, then he's criticizing the work of the animators as garbage, then he continues to reassert that, oh, it's actually the production committee who are at fault here, but that doesn't translate in any of his videos. Instead, the negativity is going to be sent directly to the animators. I've talked a lot about the animation production committee, now it's time for you to understand exactly what it is. Because none of these viral critiques, as detailed, as vulgar, and as emotional as all of them were, none of them had actually explained to you what the animation production committee is. So there's a non-profit organization in Japan called Animator Supporters run by Jun Sugawara, and I'll be using their video here to help to explain how the animation production committee works.
This production committee style is the most common one when it comes to the animation production process. This system is needed to avoid risks, but there are also cons with this approach. For example, the budget from production committees to anime studios aren't enough most of the time, so anime studios tend to have massive budget deficits. It is said that 1 out of 4 anime studios have this problem. That's why animators are often treated poorly. In addition, animators don't receive bonuses, even when the anime they made becomes really popular. They can't get bonuses in general, since the production committee receives all the profits, so they don't receive even a cent. Although making animations with production committees is a really common style, it is needed for avoiding risks. However, it is also one of the main reasons that animators are treated unfairly.
Anime studios are not funding the anime that they create themselves. This is because it would be just too much of a risky investment. Consider the fact that a budget for a single anime episode is $200,000 to $250,000 to create. So instead, a production committee system is used where they collect funding from multiple companies, like TV stations, movie companies, ad agencies, publishers, toy manufacturers, and so on. Each company that invests into the production committee gets a share of the profits of the anime. While it sounds reasonable on paper, a lot of the risk is spread across multiple different companies. The production committee system has several problems.
One of the biggest problems of animating is that the budget production committees provide to anime studios is very low. They end up paying a fourth to a half of the amount necessary. This is the main reason why animators receive such a low salary. For example, when you watch anime or buy anime related products, in most cases, these profits only go to the production committees, and not towards the people who worked on the anime directly. As you can see, production committees don't provide enough funding to these anime studios. That's why it is said that 1 out of 4 anime studios have a severe lack of funding.
From day one, before a single animation frame is drawn, the anime studio studio is running at a deficit. They are not able to hire enough anime staff, they cannot extend the deadline of the anime, they are making impossible decisions, deciding which scene gets proper attention and which scenes need to be glossed over. This is partly the reason why scenes like where Garo was sliding down the hill look like a PNG being dragged down the screen. I mean, you'd think that things get better when the anime has millions of views, it sold loads of merchandise, but unfortunately, even if the anime does incredibly well, there are no bonuses for the animators.
Fair to say that when animation studios aren't given a sufficient budget, animators end up having to work long hours with little pay.
When JC Staff was handed the opportunity to do One Punch Man Season 3, it was Shinpei Nagai who had the guts to actually take the project on, even knowing that he wouldn't have enough time to meet the expectation of fans. The production committee set the air date for One Punch Man Season 3 to be October of 2025. The production committee allocated the budget for the series, as they decided that this was good enough for a franchise as big as One Punch Man in order for them to profit off of the merchandise that would come later. You have to remember, they make their money when there's TV license agreements, streaming platform licenses that have been sold, when DVDs, books, and even toys are sold. The production committee benefits, not the animation studio. When fans get angry about the animation quality, the production committee isn't there to hear the criticism. They don't have these Twitter accounts that fans can directly engage with. They are isolated from all of the rage baiting and the hate. Like we've explained within this video, when these smartass content creators make videos criticizing the quality of anime, it is the studio, the animation director, and the animators who get the brunt of the hate. When in reality, it is these people, these companies here who should have hate directed at them, not calling the animators lazy, not saying that the animator can't do his job properly. While all of those videos that those content creators had made, they may have meant well with those videos, the true enemy that they should have told people about are these members of the production committee: TV Tokyo, Lantis, Magic Capsule, Good Smile Company, Shueisha, JR East Marketing and Communications, Bandai Spirits, ADK Marketing Solutions, Bandai Namco Music Live. This is the production committee for One Punch Man Season 3. You need to tag all of these arsehole companies and get them the hate that they deserve, because it's their fault that One Punch Man Season 3 doesn't look like what you expect it to look like. It's their fault that the animators are working 70-hour weeks, that they are being criticized online, and they're being sent death threats, they're being forced off of social media because of these production committees who frankly do not give a fuck. So yeah, you cannot sit here, take the moral high ground when your comments have led to your fans going onto social media and forcing the director of One Punch Man social media to leave Twitter. But yeah, hopefully this video has helped you to better understand the One Punch Man Season 3 anime discourse that's currently being spread online and why the director had really left social media. If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this one, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.